Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Well, good evening. I'm Paula Begon, the Cosmetics Cop, and it's Thursday evening here in Seattle. And wait, do I know the date? It's the 13th. I do know the date. It's January 13th. And I'm here with my team, my Paula's Choice team. I have Desiree Stordahl, my producer and assistant. Hi, Desiree.
Hello.
You're a trooper because you're not feeling well, and you came in with sniffles and cramps. And
I'm not feeling well, but you know what? I'm so excited to talk to our special guest because I've seen her on Dr. Oz, and she's just beautiful and talented, and she has such an incredible story. So it got me through the day. I was so excited to do the show tonight.
She has an incredible personality. And she's beautiful. Yes. She is beautiful. And she knows about the topic we're going to talk about through and through. We're going to be talking to, well, actually, let me, Brian, I know you're there somewhere. Brian, the other part of the Paula's Choice team. Hi, Brian.
Good evening. I'm sitting here with all my flaws.
Oh, you're so good looking. Not only you're good looking, but since you started using the exfoliant, the Resist 10% AHA, we're all walking around going, wow, have you seen Brian? I mean, you must be getting compliments all over the place, you Dickens.
You know, actually, I thank you very much. But yeah, honestly, it's been a long time since I've had a complete stranger say anything to me about my skin. I don't know if it's just that, first of all, the comments always come from women because I think women are just more comfortable talking about that in general. But second of all, it's so cool to, you're paying for something in a store and the woman, says, hey, can I just ask, what are you doing? What do you use to take care of your skin? And, I always tell them, and typically the response is, Paula's Choice. I've never heard of that.
Nobody knows us, Brian. Nobody knows us. Actually, I got to tell you, it's, when, having grown up, I mean, I know when we talked to Kimberly, who I'll tell you about our guest in just a minute here, when I was growing up with really bad acne and eczema, I could have worn a pillow, a paper bag over my head. I was so humiliated by my skin. And now with, following what I preach, doing, using my products and, just taking care of my skin the way I have recommended to everybody else, I get compliments on my skin, even not wearing makeup. I get compliments on my skin, and I find it almost impossible to take in. Like, are they really looking at me and saying I look good? And I mean, in our meeting today, I was saying I got to stop using a 10 times magnifying mirror, because that's just probably making things worse. But yeah,
I know exactly what you mean, because I grew up with skin problems. I had acne, I had freckles, I hated the fact that I could never get tan like my friends. I hated always being told that I was so white and all of that. And you hear that enough as a kid and especially as a teenager, and then you get into adulthood and all of a sudden people start saying, no, you have a nice complexion, or, no, I think you look just fine, or they compliment you. It's your first instinct is that you don't believe them.
Right, especially when it's strangers. You expect family to say, hey, they're supposed to lie to you and say you look great.
Right.
Actually, family tends to be most critical. But yeah, when it's complete strangers, they don't have to say anything. And, I was getting a massage the other day at this place that specializes in Chinese massages, and these two lovely Chinese women, my age Chinese women. I love when I say older and they're my age. And they both were going in a very, very sweet Chinese accent, almost like wanting to touch my face. And, of course, in a massage, I never let anybody touch my face. And they're going, oh. And I was thinking, damn, I'm good. We did good. Kate, me, you, the whole team, we give good information. We follow what we say. And I'm feeling very cocky and proud. But separate from that, what I'm feeling, I agree, obviously we've all been looking forward to talking to our guest today. We're going to talk about covering any flaw. And the woman we're going to talk to, Kimberly Heintzman, knows, gosh, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She'll tell me in a minute. She refers to herself as a medical makeup artist. And her area of specialty is, and some of her own personal experience, is with covering up vascular birthmarks. The technical term is hemangiomas, and they could be, port wine stains, and there's all kinds of different conditions that can cause what we think of as red birthmarks, that there's the spidery veins on the face. And on her website at kimcosmetics.com, and if you look up her before and after is one of the more stunning before and afters I've ever seen in my life in terms of makeup application. So we're going to ask her all about how she does that, also about her experience with treating it, getting it treated to reduce the redness with lasers. She's a TV media source for information. Actually, let's just talk. Kimberly, you there? Let's just talk to Kimberly. She's got a ton of information for us. Kimberly, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Kimberly. Did I pronounce your name right?
You did. It's Heintzman, yes.
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show.
And I'm sorry I didn't get to meet you when I was down in L.A. doing my media tour on Tuesday. It would have been wonderful to have spent some time, but I'm glad you have the time to talk about your area of brilliant expertise. I mean, it's really something. So you were born with this, your birthmark, this vascular discoloration you have on your face?
Yes, I was. I was born with a port wine stain, and I guess around the age of, 13 years old is really when I started feeling uncomfortable, like kids were teasing, and I noticed that, it was affecting my self-esteem. And I went to the cosmetics department, and I scoured through green concealers and every heavy cover-up on the market. And at that age, going into a cosmetic department was really, I was so, insecure about my skin imperfection, and then all of these beautiful women, working at the counter. It was really quite intimidating. So what I ended up doing was really teaching myself how to apply concealing products, and then over the years mastered my own application, taught myself how to do it, and then just naturally gravitated into becoming a makeup artist and working in the industry as a makeup artist. So
how long have you been a makeup artist for?
Well, I became a makeup artist and working out in the field at the age of 22, so about 15, 16 years now out in the field working, and about the last 10 is when I became a spokesperson and an advocate and an expert in what I could call medical makeup, which is concealing products that work for people with more serious skin discolorations.
So on your website, Kim, do you prefer Kim or Kimberly? I see that it's Kim Cosmetics. What do you prefer being called?
You can call me Kim.
Is that okay? That's good?
Totally. That's
okay.
Great.
Okay. Oh, you just got a little softer talking. Can you speak up just a little bit more?
Is it better now?
Oh, much better. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Desiree, it sounds good to you, too?
Yeah, we can hear it good and loud.
Oh, yay. Okay, because I want to hear everything Kimberly has to say. Now I'm back to calling you Kimberly. So, on your website, I'm looking at you all. You're adorable. And by the way, your highlights are magnificent. And the way you do you have makeup on your chest, or are those yours?
No, that's my natural skin.
That's whoa, you got a nice little figure there, dear. Okay, so on your cheek area, on the before picture that's down below, now this is the port wine stain after you've had it treated with lasers, or is this the way it's always how old is this picture? Are both pictures relatively current?
Yes, both of those pictures were taken within the last year, and yes, I have had 7 laser treatments within the past 10 years, and so there's a significant difference in the depth of the discoloration. My port wine stain was much darker before the laser treatment. So I did, as a younger girl, and when I was first started wearing camouflage makeup, I did wear heavier makeup, and I had to really learn how to, mask and disguise and create illusions and all of those things. So it has significantly lightened, and I'm really grateful for that. It's been a tremendous experience.
So what kind of laser treatments have you had? What process did you go through to get the results I'm looking at on your website?
Okay, so there's the best vascular laser that I've found that works really well for me is made by a laser company called Candela, and it's a V-beam Perfecta, and it's very deep.
Kimberly, are you saying V as in Victor, beam, B-E-A-M?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so it's a very deep penetrating flash of light. And after the flash of light, it instantly causes even more severe bruising and discoloration. During certain procedures, depending on how deep the doctor goes with the strength of the light, my skin can turn almost black, a very dark purple, and very slowly over like a 10 to 12 to 14-day time frame, it starts to lighten as it heals. So you actually get to see your birthmark lightening as it's healing and the bruising goes away. It's amazing.
Actually, I've had laser treatments on I have just typical sun damaged, growing, veining, red, little spider veins on different parts of my face that I have had zapped, and that's exactly what happens. It gets darker first, which just pisses you off, and then you got to live with it for several days until it goes away. So it was deeper and more purple on you over your entire cheek area.
Yeah, it was a little more like in the very center is the darkest spot still, but it definitely broke up some of the lines around my cheek and the side of my nose, and they actually put a lens inside my eye, a plastic lens, and they can get all the way to my lash line, which is amazing. So they protect my eye, and they get right around my eye. But yeah, it's amazing.
So I noticed in your bio that you were a spokesperson for 2 cosmetic lines. What were those cosmetic lines you represented?
Well, DermaBlend, which I think is one of the most widely recognized names in camouflage makeup. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Brian, you agree too?
Yes, although I think in modern years they've been surpassed by some other companies that have basically one-upped their products. Now, I haven't looked at DermaBlend really closely in the past year or so, and I know that they were purchased by L'Oreal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite possible that with L'Oreal behind the scenes, they've caught up. Without question, L'Oreal has some amazing foundation know-how, and they use wonderful pigment technology. So I don't want to poo-poo DermaBlend, but from past experiences, it wasn't one of the better camouflage makeups.
Do you think it's
right?
Changed? So Kimberly, what was the other line you worked with?
Well, that would be Cover Blend by Neostrata.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
which is there's both. It's there. Oh, sorry.
Well, what I was going to say is, of the 2, which one do you personally use?
Well, actually, today I do use Cover Blend. It's night and day. Even though they have the same end result, the formulations are completely different. In DermaBlend being a mineral oil and wax-based product,
right.
Cover Blend is actually water-based. And you
And the cover blend also uses, they utilize silicone technology.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting that smoother application, much less of a greasy look and feel, and it's more suitable for a wide range of skin types. I imagine the original DermaBlend formulas were probably a nightmare for people that had serious discolorations and struggled with acne.
Very true. And something else that's really important to point out is for post-laser and post-procedure, wax and oil-based makeup, it can be very hard to remove from the skin. And that skin is so delicate, using a water-based concealing product, I think, is superior than a wax and oil-based product.
Right. And I would also suggest that the occlusion also traps in heat, which makes it very problematic for healing because you're trapping in heat. So Kimberly, walk me through what you do to go from your personal before and after. What's your makeup application process?
Well,
and mention products. Feel free to mention whatever you happen to be using.
Okay, well, I love it. The Exuviant skincare line by Neostrata is amazing because it has a treatment in it called polyhydroxys, which is actually also in Cover Blend. That's another thing about Cover Blend that I like, is that it's a treatment product as well as a foundation.
Kimberly, walk me through not your skin care so much, but what are you doing makeup-wise to go from this red markings on your face to, I mean, I know it's a picture, but you just look flawless.
Oh,
so
thank you.
What's your step-by-step makeup application? What are you doing for that?
Okay, so basically what I do is I just start with a fresh moisturized skin, and then I use a sheer liquid foundation as a base, and I create my base. And I feel like that just neutralizes and evens my skin tone. And then,
which base what are you using? Which base?
I use an Exuviant product called Skin Caring Foundation, which is a lighter weight, less pigmented foundation that just anybody would use as an everyday makeup.
Okay.
And then I do my eye makeup and my lips and eyebrows and all the other fun stuff before I do my camouflaging. So then I, have.
Now, why do you do that? Actually, do you? That sounds unusual. Why do you do that order?
Well, the reason I do that is that what I've learned from working with all of my clients over the years and on myself, is that if I first go to camouflage the discoloration, it's the most, it's the worst thing I'm going to see when I look in the mirror. And so I would tend to have a heavy hand. And you've almost tricked yourself into, it's an illusion, is that if you do your other makeup first and then when you come back to do the camouflaging, you're not going to see the flaw as much because the rest of your face is going to be more complete. And it just, for some reason, psychologically, it lets you have a lighter hand in your corrective camouflaging application.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
yeah,
so you do your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Put on this light foundation base. Do you put that over your eye and under your eye as well? Do you put that all over?
I do. I use it almost like an SPF also. It's because I love the idea of a transfer-resistant foundation with SPF as my sun protection because I think
so your foundation has sunscreen.
Yep, all of this particular formula, which we rated well, it contains, depending on the shade, between 7 and 10% titanium dioxide as the active, all by itself.
And it feels light. Oh, that's great. Okay, so you put that all over. You put it on your eye. You put it under your eye, and you haven't put on a concealer yet or anything. Just did your eye makeup, and you haven't done a concealer.
Right. So then, I would look almost as complete, except for my port wine stain is still showing. So I take a shade that matches my skin tone, my neck, the undertone of my skin, the depth, everything matches perfectly. And in the past, I've worked with a sponge or I've worked with my fingertips. I always feel like I'm reinventing and teaching myself new application technique. But currently, I'm using this great brush by CoverFX. And
Brian is gonna love you. We go back and forth. We go back and forth. I hate the foundation brush. Brian, Brian,
okay.
are you still a fan of the foundation brush?
I like certain ones, but Paula, what you and I tend to butt heads with more is that when I was working at the counters and doing makeup, I prefer to use my fingers to apply foundation, and then I use a sponge to smooth out the edges and stuff. But I still think that fingers are a great tool, and I get that you think that it's like finger painting, but with the right foundation, it really works.
Okay, so Kimberly, you use a makeup brush. Whose makeup brush are you using?
CoverFX. CoverFX.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Okay, so go on. So you.
Typically, in the past, I've never been a fan of traditional nylon foundation brushes, but they happen to have one nylon brush and then another brush that's made out of hair, some kind of a hair. And what I like about the application is that I feel like as I put a small amount of Cover Blend Concealing Treatment Foundation on the palm of my hand, and then I use the brush to blend it onto the brush, from my hand onto the brush, so that it's blended evenly on the brush. Before the brush touches my face, I have an even amount of product distributed on the tool. So then when I'm stippling, which is patting and building and blending at the same time, it's like instant, it's like putting a little eraser on wherever the discoloration is. It just completely disappears. And the reason I like the brush is because I feel like it gives a little texture as I'm stippling it into my skin. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. But why do you want that texture?
Because the skin is naturally textured. So I feel like it resembles natural skin texture. I think it creates a nice texture. And I can also build the coverage really well with the brush. And these are very unique brushes. They're not just like any typical foundation brush. There's something that the way that they're shaped and the angles of them is what makes them very unique and why I like them.
So one of the things I hear you saying, and I think this is something that I don't know that I've ever really read anywhere in fashion magazines or actually just about anybody talking about makeup, that women always want to find that one product that they can just slap on and it'll cover discolorations and dark spots, and it really is a layering technique, is what I hear you describing, and that you build it until it looks how you want it to look, blending as you go along, and this stippling, which is really another way of layering up enough makeup to cover up the problem. Is that the idea?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But what's so important is that the product has to have enough pigment to support the building. Because, for example, the skin caring foundation would never build the coverage. So the concealing treatment foundation that I use, I am able to build, because it also, another unique thing about it is that it starts binding to the skin and almost has a drying time, which once you learn how to work with the product, that's what makes it easy to build too, because you're layering in sheer layers, and that makes us more of a natural finish rather than putting it on and then try to move it around on your skin. When you're just tapping your skin very lightly, it just ends up looking so much more natural.
So, remind everybody what product you first use the sheer foundation, relatively sheer foundation from Neostrata. What's the name of that product again, Kimberly?
It's Exuviance Skin Caring Foundation.
With SPF?
Yes, a full spectrum 15.
Okay, and then you do your eye makeup, and then and then on the rest of your face, you put on this. Say again the name of the foundation you're using.
It's the Cover Blend Concealing Treatment Foundation.
And then that's the one you're layering in this stippling kind of way as opposed to smoothing. You're stippling it so you can kind of control where the coverage goes. And now,
exactly.
And then after you're done with that, is that when you apply concealer?
Well, depending on, for my personal application.
Kimberly, can you talk up a little bit? I'm kind of losing you a little bit, dear.
Okay, how's this? Is that better?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay. So for my personal application, my concealing foundation, I mean, that really is my concealer. I don't even need a separate concealer. So the foundation works as a concealer.
What if you have dark circles? Because as I'm looking at you little you don't really have dark circles. You just have redness. So what if somebody has, instead of, they're not just, they don't need to cover redness on their face, they want to cover dark circles. So they put on their foundation, and then what's the technique you would use for dark circles?
Okay, so for dark circles, it's the same exact application that I do, is that I wait until the very end, and then I do the concealing under the eyes. And depending on, their skin tone and whatnot, finding the right concealer. And sometimes for severe dark circles, I've had to work with 2 shades. And this is all about neutralizing the undertone of the darkness, whether it's caused from veins or really thin, delicate skin that causes the kind of purpley darkness under the eyes.
Right.
Using something with a peachy or pink undertone first, letting that, bind to the skin or whatnot, and then using a concealer that actually matches your skin tone perfectly, matches your foundation and your skin tone. So that's more of a corrective way to work with that kind of art.
And whose concealers are you working with, Kimberly?
Well, I've used quite a few different lines, but I do know that I use a cover blend for concealers on my clients. I've used Laura Mercier is a very popular concealing line that a lot of my clients have been very happy with.
Well, we're going to send you a gift, and we're going to send you several of our concealers, and then when we have you on, and then when we have you back on, you could tell me how our concealers did for you. And Kimberly, we have a really great question from Erica. Erica, are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Erica. How are you?
Hi. Good.
Hi, dear. So you just had a nose job. You got a cute nose now, or
yeah, I do.
Was there something? Did you break a nose, or what happened?
No, I just didn't like it.
You like it now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm really happy with it.
And how old are you?
I'm 27.
You're 27, and you want to know how to cover up a scar.
So I want to know, I had it recently, and there's it's not even so much a scar, it's kind of like redness, and it's under the nose, so it's kind of, and I have allergies, so I sneeze and I blow my nose, and I find that, if I put concealer and things there, it goes away. But I also don't like the look of a lot of makeup either, so I thought this would be a great question to ask your guests. And Paula, by the way, I'm a huge fan of your products. I use all of them. I love them.
Thank you. So, not Kimberly, I'm sorry, Erica. Thank you. And Kimberly, can you help Erica out?
Well, hi there. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Very good. So what I can recommend is trying out. It's good to try different products to see what holds up the best for your skin type and which products work best for concealing. So are you talking about something that really adheres and stays on like throughout the day, or is it fine? Is it a covering question?
Probably a covering question. I would be interested in both recommendations, I guess. Something that covers and maybe lasts all day.
Okay, so
I don't have to reapply it.
Okay. Well, finding something that is transfer resistant is going to be really important. And A water-based concealer, I think it can work really well as long as it binds to the skin well. I probably.
Which product would you recommend? I mean, I'm going to send Erica home with. I'm going to give Erica a whole bunch of mine, but other than mine, whose would you recommend?
Well, I think Cover Blend works amazing for that because. Okay. That's what I love about it is that it stays on all day, and I can really be active in it. I've taken a Bikram yoga class in Cover Blend, and my makeup stayed in place. So it's long wearing, and what you want to be mindful of is when you do sneeze, you have to just be mindful to blot and not to rub on the areas because really it's almost impossible if you're rubbing with a tissue or something for it not to break down. But also, do you have oily skin type or what's your skin type?
No, it's actually more dry.
Okay. So really making sure you have good hydration because makeup only looks as good as the skin underneath. So we want to make sure that the skin is properly hydrated and makeup adheres, foundation adheres to more hydrated skin better, so you'll get a better wear if the skin's properly hydrated.
So I think it's it's kind of interesting, but people always ask me, if when I have a cold or something, they always say, so how come your makeup is still on? And I say, because I know how to blow my nose. But what happens is it is a technique because, Erica, exactly what Kimberly is saying is that it won't last all day if you aren't careful. Kimberly, where can somebody find to test out Cover Blend? Where would they go? I think it's sold by dermatologists or spas, or do you just go on the
you'll find it at Ulta Cosmetics if you're familiar with that retailer.
Oh yeah,
Erica, do you know Ulta?
Oh yeah, I have. I'm in LA. I have everything. So.
So you need to be very careful how you blow that new cute nose of yours. And just be very careful. You don't have to put the whole Kleenex over the whole face and wipe away. You be very delicate. The way think that it's turn of the century and you're being a very, very delicate nose blower. So Erica, I'm going to send you home with some Paula's Choice concealer so you can experiment with mine. And which products of mine are you using, Erica?
I use a lot of them. I use the antioxidant. I like that one a lot because I have, like I said earlier, I have dry skin. So I put that underneath my sunblock, and I love that one.
So what about, what are you doing? Because I'm concerned you said you had dry skin, and I want to make sure you're using the right. Oh, you know what I'll send you home with? Some of my new Resist products. I'm going to send you my new Resist cleanser, my new Resist toner, and I'm also going the Resist antioxidant concentrate, and also my personal favorite that I want you to experiment with is the Moisture Boost Hydrating Treatment Cream. That's my personal favorite I love that one. I made it. So, and the other one is our new Moisture Boost sunscreen with SPF 20. So I'll send you home with a whole bunch of stuff to play with, and thank you for calling. It was lovely, lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kimberly.
You're welcome.
Good luck blowing that cute new nose of yours. So Kimberly, let me ask you in terms of. Oh, actually, we had Desiree. We have a caller asking about covering large pores, which is a particular bane of mine. Can you find that caller?
Yeah, that's Tasha from Texas.
Hi, Tasha.
Hi, Paula. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am great. I am so happy to talk to you. I am a pure devotee of yours. I tell everyone about you, and I go to the mall and tell the counter people, "Oh, I can't buy this. Paula said it's not any good." So.
Oh, they just love you. They just love you for that.
Well, they love you when we say nice things about the products, and then if we don't like the products, then we don't know what we're talking about.
Absolutely, that's the way it goes. I guess.
How could anything they sell possibly be bad?
Exactly. The 50 moisturizers, how can they be bad?
Right, and they all work to get rid of wrinkles.
Oh, yes.
So Tasha, your question for Kimberly.
Well, it's not even really a large pore question. I actually had a basal cell removed from the center of my nose about 3 years ago. And in the last year or so, I'm noticing that where the stitches were, because I had a 2-inch incision down the center of my nose, where the stitches were, some of those holes are actually kind of opening, and it looks like a large pore, but it's really where the stitches were. And so when I try to put makeup on, it almost like skips that pore area, and I hate to cake makeup on the tip of my nose, but it just looks like a big open, like several open pores right there. So I'm not sure if I should go with more makeup or just try to put powder over it. I'm just not sure what to use.
Kimberly, what's your suggestion?
Well, I'm not sure how you rate this product, but there's a really high concentrated primer that's just for targeted areas by Smashbox that works on just those really like areas that you just want to target small. It's not a primer for the entire face. It's just for something like, it sounds like that, just like a little area that you need to fill in and smooth out before you put on a foundation, because it's just going to make it look more smooth.
Kimberly, what's the name of this product?
I just saw it on the market in the past 4 to 5 months, and it's by Smashbox, and I think it's some kind of a super concentrated primer.
Brian is our makeup. Well, he's guru of everything. But Brian, do you know what product this is from Smashbox?
I'm sorry. Say the name again. Was it one of their photo finish?
I think it's in the photo finish line, but it's a higher concentrated than the average primer. It's not for the entire face. It's just for targeted areas.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So how did we rate it, Brian?
I'm trying to find exactly what that one is called.
Oh, it's called Targeted Pore and Line Primer. Photo Finish Targeted Pore and Line Primer.
Well, it's because it's Smashbox, Tasha.
Yeah, we got it. We rated it well.
I love Brian. Brian rates it well, and Kimberly rates it well. It's absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's nice about one of the things about going to the department store, that's worth it for people looking for special makeup techniques, is you can try it before you buy it.
Yes.
So, Tasha, it's really worth it then to give it a try and see how it works for you. So
for Paula, real quick, for Kimberly and our listeners, I've been checking on Beautypedia all of the products that Kimberly is recommending. And Kimberly, I'm thrilled that we've rated everything that you use and rave about highly. So
great.
we're all on the same page there, to borrow a tired cliche.
Speaking, I'm sorry. Go on, Brian.
No, go ahead. I think I know where you're going with this.
Well, speaking of Beautypedia,
there you go.
There you go. A shameless intermission plug. So Beautypedia for January and February is free. Free. It's free. Tell your friends. Tell mom. Tell dad. Tell the cousins by the dozens. You can go to beautypedia.com, which is the living version of our book, Don't Go to the Cosmetics Counter Without Me. The me refers to me, but it's really the Cosmetics Cop team, Paula's Choice team, Brian Barron, who's been co-writing books with me for years. So go and take a look and see how we've rated products you're using, products you think you're using. It's all based, every review of skincare is based on published research, not on press releases, not on advertising claims, but what published research says ingredients do and what they can and can't do for skin, how skin responds to things physiologically based on facts. Makeup, that's all done by a process that Brian and his team go through to evaluate products, compare products. Desiree has been doing makeup reviews beautifully. Desiree, I love your writing and your reviews. She's got a beautiful style. She's been training with Brian and his team. And now she's obviously
Desiree has picked up on things really quickly, and she is already a pro at the counters and in stores, and she knows exactly what to look for, and so I've been loving her reviews, and so.
Oh, Desiree, doesn't it make you
feel so loved?
And it's so nice that I'm not the only one out at the counters anymore.
Doesn't that cold feel better with all those compliments?
It does. It really does.
So, Beautypedia.com has thousands and thousands and thousands of products reviewed, and we update it all the time. This is the largest database of its kind in the world, and it's free for 2 months. Go there, learn. Stop wasting money isn't pretty. I want everybody to only put the best products on their pretty faces. So, Kimberly, I wanted to ask, just personally, as somebody who is struggling with lines on my face and particularly around my lips, women ask all the time, and I'm asking. So I find that, I've always recommended and am just adamant about women not wearing shiny eyeshadow because it pops wrinkles. But around the under eye and around the lips, to cover dark circles under the eye, my eye when I'm not wearing makeup, it looks less wrinkled, it looks less lined and crepey. I put makeup on, and over the past many years of my life, testing so much makeup, it just doesn't matter. It always pops the wrinkles. Makeup makes the dark circles go away, evens out my skin tone, and my wrinkles look more noticeable. Do you know something I don't? Is there anything you can do about that?
Well,
other than a miracle?
I mean, honestly, the best technique or type of product that I've seen is illuminating concealers, things that reflect light, because that will just soften the appearance. So if you need coverage and you don't want to make it appear that it's cakey or that you're wearing a lot of under eye makeup, you can still get the put your concealers on that give you the coverage with the right pigments, but then adding a little bit of a luminizing concealer just on top of it, just to soften. I mean, I think that's the best tip.
Whose do you recommend, Kimberly?
Well, Yves Saint Laurent always has that classic concealer.
That doesn't work, in all due respect.
That one doesn't? Okay.
And
I know.
And even if it worked, it's so rudely expensive, it just pisses me off.
That's true.
But,
okay.
But in all honesty, I know the one you're talking about. It's in the gold click-up pen, and it gets recommended in magazines. So you've used that and thought it worked well,
not personally on myself, but I mean, for an example, there are a lot of other companies that are now, that was one of the first illuminizing concealers brighteners that I knew of on the market they became so popular, though, that a lot of companies are now making them. So I think that Bobbi Brown. Yes, exactly. So I think Bobbi Brown has one on that people have said nice things about, but personally I have not used one on myself, so I can't speak of any brands.
But what about your clients? What about your clients? Have none on?
I have. Yes, I have had some of my clients say that they like the Bobbi Brown one, so I'm not sure how that is, if that's favorable by you guys, but
okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Actually, something so Kimberly, one of the things you're suggesting that I haven't done before is you're saying to wear my concealer that is more covering and then put an illuminizer kind of concealer that is lighter weight but has a non-shiny glow to it over it. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Here's what I'll do for next week, because next week we're going to talk about, you're going to love this, is your makeup, these two shows are all about me. Is your makeup aging you? So so I'm going to go and give that a try and see how that works. I've never done it that way. I've always been afraid of layering. I use the least little bit of powder, because one of the things that happens with lines under the eye, we'll talk about this more next week, is, you put your makeup on, you want to put a little moisturizer under your eye, like you said, to have a smooth, finish. I use a gel and a liquid for the rest of my face because I don't like creams and lotions on my face because of oily skin. So I put a little bit of moisturizer under my eye area, and it just makes my makeup slip into my lines. So I use a little bit of powder, to do some absorbing. Mm-hmm. So you're saying, okay, I got to experiment with this. All right, I'm all over it. Everybody who's listening now, I will come up. I'm going to give Kimberly's suggestion a try, see what else I can do. Now, I'm on a mission. I think my makeup might be aging me too, so we're going to teach everybody what we know, and I'm going to be on a mission to figure out the rest of it by next week. Susan from Boston. Susan from Boston has a great question about how do you get your makeup to glow without looking greasy? How are you, Susan?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you, Paula, for taking my phone call.
Sure. So you're in Boston?
Yes, we're in Boston. We got very good snow.
Are you inside listening because you can't go outside? You're like you're in an igloo now?
Yes, we're stuck.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh about you being.
No, the kids are laughing. They're fine. Yeah, the kids are enjoying the time off.
So you have a question about you have dry skin and you want to glow without looking greasy. What is it you're looking to do?
Well, I have dry skin. I do use your products, but I feel as though I tend to look kind of too matted when I apply my makeup, and I put moisturizer and SPF and everything. But I want a little bit of the glow. So I don't know if it's a skincare, with the exfoliation, or if it's a makeup thing.
So, Kimberly, forgive me. Let me ask a couple of questions. What makeup are you using?
I use the Studio Fix MAC powder.
Susan.
Yeah.
Forgive me, Kimberly. I'm jumping in here.
Oh,
Susan, you're using powder. Of course.
Yeah, but it's so much easier. It's so much easier than having to, use a brush or.
You can't have dry skin and use a powder, Susan.
Okay.
It's kind of like saying you're going to run and you have a broken leg. That's a terrible analogy. I don't know, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
You're the metaphor guy here. You got to. It's the wrong. Don't do it. It's not. There's nothing to over. Whatever moisturizer you're putting on.
Yeah, it's like taking a shower with your raincoat on. Why bother?
So, Susan, what's happening is you're putting. I'm hoping my products are working for you. And then when you put a powder on, it is absorbent. And so it is absorbing the moisturizer. It's absorbing whatever moisture is in your skin. So it's counterproductive for your skin type.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you several of my, one of each of my foundations. I'm going to send you a bunch of samples to experiment with the color and the texture and see how you feel about it. They're very lightweight. They go on very smoothly. They're not heavy kind of foundations for coverage. You would want to follow Kimberly's suggestion for coverage, but that doesn't sound like what you want. But I'm going to send you some of mine, and they all have sunscreen, and I think they'll give you the dewy glow you want, and they'll be easy to get on because they do go on so sheer. And then if you want to use a little of that Studio that MAC powder that you're using, just a little itty bitty bit, but over it to set it, that's fine, although you might not even need that. By not using powder, what a lot of women don't realize is when you give up the powder and you just use your nice, beautiful, light, slightly moisturizing foundation, that will give you the glow you want. So what's happening, women put on their foundation who have dry skin, and either it's a powder foundation which absorbs the moisture, or they put on their foundation and it's a great foundation, but then they put powder over it which absorbs the natural glow that comes through from using a moisturizing foundation and not getting your moisturizer all absorbed. So I'm going to send you a whole bunch of Paula's Choice foundations. I am going to send you the Paula's Choice Healthy Finish pressed powder with SPF 15. It's much lighter weight than the MAC 1 you're using. I'm going to send you a couple of brushes so you can apply them. We have a new powder brush in that I'm going to send you so you can try. Tell me real quick, Susan, what Paula's Choice products you're using?
Oh, I use, I like the purple line, so it's the Moisture Boost, I think it is.
Yeah, I like that too. So you know what I'm going to send you? We get rave reviews. I actually don't recommend this as we get rave reviews about our Skin Recovery facial mask. Women use it as a moisturizer just by itself. They use it as a mask. So I'm going to send you a couple of those, and you can play with that. And, Kimberly, I jumped in and answered this question. I apologize, but are you agreeing with most of what I'm saying, or do you want to add anything to what I just said?
I think I really, you're right about the powder and with dry skin. It doesn't really make sense, but if you're really attached to using a powder, and I'm just trying to keep this open because I know that certain people aren't willing to, even if you're willing to experiment, you might not change, your regimen or how you apply your products or what kind of products you're more, accustomed to using. But any kind of an illuminating powder, even something that reflects light, even on the top of the MAC powder, if you decide to stick with that application.
I'm so nervous about that. Which one do you recommend? I know.
No,
but
I
which
agree
one?
with you about using a liquid. I think.
But you're right. There's things I should change. I know. So tell Susan what is it? Susan, I just got lost.
Yes,
it's Susan. Right? Okay. Good. Oh God, sorry. So tell Susan which illuminating powder you're recommending.
Well, once again, I'm not sure how this is rated, but I think that Bare Minerals, the Mineral Veil illuminating finishing powder is really lightweight. It doesn't offer any coverage, but it's really great to use on top of other products.
We rated that well.
Kimberly, we're spot on here. So, Susan, we're sending you a whole bunch of... So, Susan, we're going to be sending you a whole bunch of fun products to play with. And I'm still skeptical about the powders, but you can experiment now and see which techniques works for you. And I'll be curious to see what you think about the Skin Recovery facial mask from Paula's Choice. Thanks for calling, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So let's see, how much time do we have left? So, Desiree, do we have a couple more quick calls we can get in for Kimberly?
Yeah. Let's go to Sharon from New Jersey.
Hi, Sharon.
Hello, Paula. Wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you. What can we do for you? What can Kimberly do for you?
Well, it's probably a small makeup question, not as severe as the kinds of things that Kimberly deals with, but it has to do with the foundation that I'm using, Neutrogena's Healthy Skin liquid makeup. I'm a former redhead who now has white hair, and my skin is pretty good. I use the Paula's Choice 8% AHAs in the morning and the evening, and I use on top of that, the Olay Regenerist lotion, rejuvenating lotion with the sunscreen. And then I put the Neutrogena foundation on. I could almost go without a foundation, but my nose is redder than the rest of my face. So I use the foundation, and on one side of my face, even though I spread the moisturizer, the liquid makeup with a sponge, there seems to be on the right side of my nose, it kind of clings, I guess it's in the pores, and it doesn't give me a smooth look. The other side is reasonably good, but it seems to be like little tiny, tiny spots where maybe the foundation is getting hung up in the pores. I'm wondering if you can give me any suggestions for that.
Kimberly, can you help Sharon out here?
Well, yes, I think this sounds like a perfect recommendation, and just one extra thing that you can add to make your foundation look flawless would be using a primer. Have you ever used a primer under your foundation?
I'm not even sure I know what one is.
Okay. Paula, would you like to explain, or would you like me to?
Well, which of us can explain it more quickly? Kimberly, go for it. Explain what a primer is.
Well, a primer is typically something that's silicone-based, and it's something you apply it onto the face, and maybe starting out around the nose and on the side of your nose and your cheeks where your pores are more enlarged. And basically it fills in the pores, and so when you put your foundation on it, you've created a canvas for your foundation, and it makes your foundation adhere to your skin better, and it also makes it look more smooth. So your pores won't be as noticeable, and makeup won't settle into fine lines and pores.
Well, generally, I have very small pores, but they just seem to cling, hold on to it.
Right, which is what a primer would take. Well, good, well-formulated primers could help a lot. And again, that's one of the things you can experiment with at the department store. Kimberly was mentioning, and Brian was mentioning, Smashbox has several, 2 or 3, right, Brian?
Oh, Smashbox has probably 8 or 9 primers right now, different
No.
colors. Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah, they still have their original, which is, that's more, basic. It's just silicones. You really want to use a primer that's going to give your skin more beneficial ingredients, and you'll find those reviewed on Beautypedia. We have a Best Foundation Primers section or category in our Best Products section. So if you are on the hunt for a good foundation primer, that list would be a great place to start, because we have looked at all the major primers out there.
So,
and could I actually have something, one that I really like to recommend too, that can actually replace foundation and also works as a primer. And it's by a company called Perfect Beauty. And what I like about her primers is that they're tinted. So if you don't have a lot of serious skin discoloration, it can be a foundation and a primer and a powder all in one.
And Kimberly, where do you find that? Where do you find that product? At
Sephora carries it.
Okay, Sharon, you got some stuff to play with. Remind me your skin type again, Sharon?
I'm normal to dry.
Okay, so we're going to send you some of our Moisture Boost products, the set, and I'm also going to send you the Skin Recovery Facial Mask. I'm really getting into that mask these days. And you can play with those and try some of Kimberly and Brian's suggestions, and thank you for calling. And Kimberly, I have to say goodbye. I can't believe how fast this hour. You got to come back on. You are wonderful. And everybody loves talking makeup. So you'll come back and talk.
I would love that. And I just have to say, when I'm out in the field and working at different retailers, I think it's the number one thing that people mostly need is a good foundation, and everybody has different skin, and everybody likes to know about different products and what will work for their skin type and coverage and meet all of their needs. So you're right, absolutely right. It's a popular topic.
So thank you, Kimberly, so much.
Yeah, you're
Kimberly,
welcome.
You're wonderful, and we'll talk to you again. So Kimberly is makeup artist, a medical makeup artist and beauty expert. She's an expert around the country and with media. Her website is kimcosmetics.com, and her many areas of specialty, but in particular, her work with the Vascular Birthmark Foundation. So let me tell you what's coming up next week. I already mentioned that on the 20th, and I'm going to be in Hawaii not getting a tan, but I will be here Thursday night to talk about, is your makeup aging you? And I'm going to be hot and busy and sweating, figuring out all of the expert advice I can possibly put together for you. Brian and I are going to be, and Desiree are going to be banging our heads together to make sure we give you all the best information about how to do that. And then on the 27th, we're going to do the Look Younger Now diet with author and wellness coach Deborah Enos. On the 3rd, 5 skincare products you absolutely don't need. You have to listen to that because I know you're wasting money on skincare products you don't need. And then on the 10th, how to create your own spa at home, have your own spa experience at home. And the next week on the 17th, 7 facts about skincare facts about menopause. This is Paula being on the Cosmetics Cop. Beautypedia.com is free. We'll see you here next week, Thursdays. Take care.
Blog Talk Radio, where millions of hosts and listeners gather.